Well guys, we'll be sitting in on the big one today, the final conference championship in Coach Carter's tenure at Tennessee Martin. Welcome back to the College Hoops 2K Legacy Mode series featuring Ken Carter himself, and despite dealing with the most adversity since season 1 of this series in this season, Coach Carter has rallied the troops and has guided UT Martin back to the conference championship game after a close call in the first round last episode. It'll be a Skyhawks vs Redhawks Ohio Valley Conference Championship, as Southeast Missouri State is the final obstacle for Coach Carter to win his third conference championship in his 6-year UT Martin career. I originally wanted to sit in on the other semifinal game, but unfortunately I was a little bit of a moron and accidentally deleted the file with EKU and SEMU that game. But I'll at least give you the recap. It was an exciting first half. The Redhawks took a 1-point lead into halftime, but SEMU has seven upperclassmen, and behind their experience and poise, they put together an awesome defensive second half to secure the win, behind great team rebounding as well. And this isn't the first time we've seen the Redhawks make a postseason run, by the way. Back in season 2 of this series, they knocked off Eastern Kentucky in the title game as the 8th seed. So the Redhawks are no stranger to the upset, and no stranger to beating EKU apparently. Especially behind the pick and roll punch of Lamont Bird and Michael Parks, this is going to be a tough team to deal with. These two combined for 23.5 points and 13 rebounds a night, along with Michael Parks leading the conference in assists per game this season. He can really do it all. He is an all-around point guard genius. It should be an awesome matchup between Betancourt and Parks today at the point guard spots. SEMU also has a ton of height with a lot of depth in the front court, coming in third in team rebounding across the OVC this season. We had a tough time getting rid of the top rebounding team last episode, Tennessee Tech. They paced the entire conference on the glass and nearly took us to overtime back in the first round. So that's definitely something that bodes well for the fans that are pulling for an upset tonight. The Redhawks were an even 500, 10-10 in conference play this season, finishing 6th within the Ohio Valley, and we faced off against them twice, splitting the season series. The first game was a near 40-point win in simulating Coach Carter's largest margin of victory in his career here at Tennessee Martin, albeit it was in sim. But we also scored off against them in their gym later on in the season, and it was a 1-point loss for UT Martin. So obviously, anything can happen tonight between a blowout or a nail-biting game. I mean, who knows what's going to happen tonight? We have one more game against an Ohio Valley opponent here in the title game. This is going to be the last time we are showing up here at the Thompson Bowling Arena for an Ohio Valley Conference Championship, and this series is really in the twilight right now. So I just want to take this time and say thank you to everybody who supported this series. It's been a lot of fun ever since I started this series three years ago, and I'm ready to suit up one last time for one last conference game. Lamont Bird gives the Redhawks the first possession of Season 6's Ohio Valley Conference game, and we're ready to get into it. So the Redhawks come up empty on their first possession. Betancourt then finds Blaine Fry at the high post to get things started. Nice extra pass to Jacques Diggs, who has been struggling in tournament time in the first 2 rounds. He didn't have very good games. He didn't have many shot attempts either. Teams are really making a focal point to cover Diggs whenever he has the ball inside the key. And now we change gears over to Darnay Betancourt as both teams still look to get on the board a minute and a half into the ball game. Betancourt then gets fouled, and he has been a huge success story this season. The Oklahoma Sooner transfer, 8 points, 3 rebounds, 4 assists, and he's also tied second in the conference at 1.7 steals per game as he gets us on the board with 2 free throws. So now this one works. Nice job finding Michael Parks. That's Mitchell Lane, the starting 3 for the Redhawks. Michael Parks Jr., he is an all-around beast, as then Teron Gardner gives it away, trying to beat the press. He's someone who's also struggled here in the tournament, but nice hustle by Evan Schneiderman to get the ball back. We see Jacques Diggs turning on the Jets and nearly recording a 3-point play. And I want to take this time and talk about Jacques Diggs a little bit. His points per game average has dropped to 18.5 points per game after being over 20 for a short period of time this season. And we take a look at his last 10 games. He's had some crazy performances. He reached 33 points twice in the last 10 regular season games. But in the Ohio Valley Conference tournament, he's only reached 12 and 13 and has only attempted 17 shots while almost shooting under 40% through the first 2 games of the Ohio Valley Conference tournament. So we're looking to get Jacques Diggs going, and We try to give him an ISO opportunity there. Reaching in is Lamont Bird, the top scorer for the Redhawks, and that's already his second personal in the first 3 minutes. So Lamont Bird, that is a big loss for Southeast Missouri State this early as we check in with Evan Schneiderman. Nice job repositioning himself after getting Lane to bite on that pump fake. Schneiderman, not the type of guy we see scoring off the dribble much, but he does a good job of it right there. So UT Martin up by 4 here in the first 5 minutes of the title game, and then Darnay Betancourt, who continues to extend his range. He was really a pure slasher when he first came to UT Martin after his transfer year, but I think in the offseason he worked a lot on his jump shooting, as we see Jacques Diggs then getting blocked as his struggles continue, trying to find any separation for our team captain on the offensive side. So now Dusty Harrison, Dominique Cleveland, Brian Gill, and Roshan Martin all check in for the Skyhawks as Michael Parks Jr., what a move he put right there on Roshan Martin, and then he finds Quentin Swanson, a backup forward for the Redhawks. Man, he got Roshan Martin all out of sorts with that deadly crossover move. Michael Parks is a magician with the ball. That's one of the reasons why I could have wished we sat in on the EKU game, because he had a couple of really nice passes in that one. I wish I could have showed off. Nonetheless, we'll check over to Brian Gill, missing the shot, and then on the other side of things, Roshan Martin tries to draw the foul on Feeney. Roshan Martin, unfortunately, a little bit too slow to try to draw the charge, and both teams were at the free throw line frequently here in the first half. A lot of team fouls and free throws shot, despite the fact that both these teams are not shooting really good to open up this tournament title game. As you see, it's 10-9, not a lot of points scored. It's not often in this series we've seen teams struggling this much. That is until Emmett Peterson checks in, a 7'1" senior who's actually the best three-point shooter on this roster, albeit it's only 31%. That's from the season from Peterson. It's probably their biggest weakness as a team from Southeast Missouri is their perimeter shooting, but then Dusty Harrison, he answers back with a huge three-pointer there. Nice job making the extra pass from the post by Dominique Cleveland. Timeout Redhawks. So as we move ahead, still not many points between these two teams. It looks like these two squads left their offenses and jump shooting back at their campuses, but look at this pass by Dominique Cleveland, again with the little plays. Dom Cleveland continues to just play serviceable basketball off the bench, and a really nice job staying one step ahead of the defense right there, as then Brian Gill finds himself open, but 2 steps forward, 1 step back with both offenses thus far. We have 5 minutes to go, and it's pretty likely that neither of these teams are even going to reach 20 points, as then Brian Gill is on the receiving end of a mismatch. That is 6'11" Quentin Swanson coming off the bench, knocking down a shot, but then Brian Gill breaks the press, nearly recording a 3-point play assist to Teron Gardner. Gill had 17 points, along with probably the episode's best assist in that Tennessee Tech game in round 1, and we needed all 17 to beat Tech by a single point. So I mean, hey, Gill probably the hottest UT Martin Skyhawk heading into this game down the stretch of the regular season. So now we jump ahead 17 up as Malik Larson catches it off of the ball reversal. Michael Parks with his 5th assist of the first half. He's the conference leader, and he's pacing to put up a pretty crooked number in the assist tally tonight. So the Redhawks back on top, 2 minutes to play, as that pass is tipped by Evan Schneiderman. Great reflexes, and then he'll go coast to coast to dunk one down on Michael Parks. But the refs, they don't give him continuation. The basket does not count. Evan Schneiderman put his body on the line. He fell into the cameraman after that vicious slam. So we'll get the ball back at least, though, off the inbound, and we'll see if we can still muster any points in this possession. Diggs to Betancourt. Back to Diggs at the high post eventually after Teron Gardner works with the ball in his hands a little bit. And then he'll find Evan Schneiderman again, this time in the left corner. Ball doesn't lie, yells Evan Schneiderman as he runs back on defense. UT Martin with a 1-point advantage. Evan Schneiderman with a really inviting first half of basketball. So now 10 seconds left. Larson for 3. That one's a little short. Schneiderman grabs rebound number 4 with 4 seconds to go. Here comes Betancourt with those long strides. He will draw a foul on Quentin Swanson. So I'm surprised, UT Martin, man. I'm surprised at least one of these teams got into at least 20 points. And with 0.9 seconds left, Betancourt will step to the line and knock down 2 for 2. The team's second best free throw shooter behind Schneiderman. Betancourt shoots 79%, and we head into the half sporting a 22-19 lead. It's not often we've seen in this series both offenses completely neutralized like this. No team even reached 30% shooting, but both teams drew a lot of fouls. Tennessee Martin was 10 for 10 from the line. That's been the difference maker. Jacques Diggs, again, really struggling. He's missed all 4 of his shots, and all 4 of them have come from beyond the arc. He's been to the free throw line for 2 gimmies. And Evan Schneiderman, probably the best UT Martin Skyhawk. He's the only starter with more than 1 field goal recorded on the game. So, I mean, hey, this is where you really find yourself as a team, because UT Martin, there's been a lot of this down the stretch of the season. A couple games where their offense has not looked very good, but they still continue to find a way and pull out games. And that's really why they're at this point in this season. UT Martin has such a knack of grinding out games and really finding different ways to win, and that's what the good ball clubs do. So, both teams really struggling on offense in the first half here in the title game. We've got 15 minutes left to go. We'll come back after this. Alright guys, we have 15 minutes standing in the way of us and the NCAA tournament. Let's get into it. Hopefully we can start to get some more traction on offense. Betancourt will try from 3 to begin us here in the second half. No good, but Schneiderman picks it up and makes a delightful pass to the adjacent block. Look at this. He gave a little look to Gardner. He saw him cutting to the right block, and then he delivers a beautiful wraparound pass to begin the second half. That's the kind of teamwork we're going to need to get this ship sailing in the right direction. Great rebound there by Diggs. As we see here, it looks like UT Martin wants to get out in the open court a little bit more often here in the second half. As Schneiderman works his way into the post, finds the mismatch, he will pass out of the double team and then find Jacques Diggs for his first field goal of this contest. Finally, we find Jacques Diggs open. All these teams, they're starting to get the scouting report on Diggs and deliver so much attention his way whenever he crosses the timeline. So it's finally nice to get him an open look. Now we see Lamont Bird checking back in. We haven't seen much of him since his 2 early personal fouls, but then Michael Parks cleans up the mess. Little fun fact, Michael Parks is actually the second leading rebounder on this team. It is just amazing the things he can do on the floor and how well he does every little facet of the game. So now we're under 12 minutes to play, as then Darnay Betancourt finds the trailer on the break, the secondary break. That's a great way to get in the head of the defense, and Lamont Bird is tagged for his 3rd personal. Evan Schneiderman records a 3-point play. He should have had one in the first half, but this one he'll make good upon. And then Darnay begins the second half with an awesome little flurry of points and assists. He's up to 8 on the game. And slowly yet surely, UT Martin looking more and more like the Skyhawks we all know and love, especially with that defense. Betancourt going the distance with that spin layup. Didn't really need it, but I guess he wanted a little bit of style points. But I know the 2 points that Coach Carter is more focused on are the basket from those 2 points that will extend the lead to 9. Our biggest lead of the contest, nearly getting another steal there. But then wait, Evan Schneiderman does eventually get that turnover by selling his body out on the line to grab it. Betancourt with the little dump down to Jacques Diggs, a tough finish on the other end. But let's take a look at the replay and see what set that all up. Look at Schneiderman. He goes headlong for this save, and it goes right into the arms of Gardner to begin the break. Oh my goodness, what a game we're seeing out of Schneiderman on both sides of the basketball. 38-30, we've really seen Schneiderman emerge as a full-time starter this season. Now we're under 9 minutes to go. With an 8-point lead, Blaine Fry still hasn't scored on the ball game and now delivers a turnover right into the hands of Michael Parks, who delivers yet another assist. This time it goes into Jermaine Holmes, who is one of the more fun players to watch on this team, a really talented point forward. that the Skyhawks, or Redhawks rather, have to offer. So 8 minutes left to go in the contest. Cleveland checks back in as Betancourt, nice bounce pass across the painted area, and a beautiful up and under move for Blaine Fry to record his first field goal on the game. He had 2 free throws in the first half up to this point. So now 6:50 left to go. Holmes is off the mark from about 18 feet as Betancourt throws a baseball pass to Dusty Harrison, who also checks in for the gassed Schneiderman with all the hustle plays he's been making. As Betancourt with his 5th assist, all 5 have come in the second half of action. Harrison up to 6 points. He's 3 for 4 in the contest. As we're going to keep the heat on, Harrison takes it away, and he wants to deliver the favor right back to Betancourt and giving him an assist from the left flank. Betancourt, let's go. 13 points for number 13. Betancourt sometimes has the ability to turn it on the offensive end, and that's exactly what we're seeing here with the lead up to 15. Now the Redhawks working against the clock as we see Betancourt. He takes it away from Lamont Bird in the interior as then Diggs puts on the hesitation move on Jonathan Buckley to go the distance there. Now 9 points for Diggs. 51-32, starting to look like we are having this Ohio Valley Conference Championship in the bag with all of a sudden a flip of a switch as Schneiderman then records a block. This one will reverse out to Teron Gardner, and with so much base, he says, why not? Teron Gardner knocks down a 3 in garbage time. And it's funny too because Gardner actually has a pretty decent 3-point rating for a guy at his position. 63 overall is pretty decent in this game, and I know he's made a couple 3 points in simulating. He's 7 for 15 on the year, and that's all come in simulating. I've never taken a 3 with him, so whenever I saw that, I was like, hey, whenever I get the opportunity to shoot one with Teron Gardner in a game, I definitely will. And I got my opportunity right there. So. But anyway, UT Martin ends off the title game with a crazy Rashawn Martin layup right there. But in the bigger picture, UT Martin, they silenced the Redhawks here in the second half, only relinquishing 6 points in the final 8.5 minutes of this contest. That is a crazy stat. This might be the greatest defensive effort, definitely of the season, but perhaps of the entire series, limiting Southeast Missouri State to only 19 points in the first and second half combined, only giving up 38. As UT Martin reigns victorious again, their 3rd title under UT or Coach Carter here at UT Martin, and it's a very special time. The Skyhawks are going dancing again under Coach Carter. And this is the last season of the series, aka our last time to finally secure the big one. Coach Carter, of course, a man of class. He will deliver a couple of nice words to Michael Parks and Jonathan Buckley here. But at the end of the day, you already know he's probably dancing on the inside a little bit. But this is the last time Coach Carter will be here at UT Martin for an NCAA tournament, and thus our last time to get the big one done after a huge win against Southeast Missouri State. So, Betancourt with a big second half. He had 9 and 5 assists, along with 3 steals, all coming in the second half of action. Jacques Diggs again 3 for 11. We're just looking for anything to get him going coming tournament time. Evan Steinerman, I know his numbers don't jump out at you from the stat sheet, but this I think was up there for his most important performances of his season and overall career. And Teron Gardner and Blaine Fry both finished with 11 rebounds apiece, ultimately holding down the interior in a big way. Lamont Bird, the top scorer on the season, could only manage 1 basket on top of Blaine Fry. Overall, this was quite the way to end off Season 6, and the other 2 conference tournament championship games we've been in this series, they were a lot closer than that. It just so happened that UT Martin, they saved their best defensive performance for their biggest game of Season 6. So before we hop into Selection Sunday, I want to go down the list of the conference leaders so you guys have, a little snapshot of what Skyhawk finished where in these lists. We see Teron Gardner and Jacques Diggs for points, then Blaine Fry for rebounding. We're going to see Darnay Betancourt for steals and assists, and Fry again for blocks per game. I want to do a better job next season whenever we go to a new school to keep you guys better intertwined with the series itself and the conference leaders and the NCAA leaders. Nonetheless, the last time I checked bracketology, UT Martin was projected to be a 14th seed, but perhaps with a statement win like this in the conference title game, maybe the committee will shed some light on us and perhaps bump us up to a 13, perhaps 12 seed. Who knows? And just like I did last season for Selection Sunday, to save a little bit of time, I'm going to let the commentators ride for UT Martin's region, but I'll be doing some editing and trimming down the other 3 regions. Just to save a little bit of time, I'll put some music on in the background. So hope you guys are excited for Selection Sunday. Let's hop in. Let's do it, guys.
Good evening and welcome. I'm Greg Gumbel here with my partner Clark Kellogg, bringing you the 2K Sports NCAA Selection Show. We're all set to show you the seedings and pairings, so get out your bracket sheet, get those pencils ready. Here are the basics. Before we unveil the brackets for this season, here's a look at the final top 25 media poll of the season. There are a couple of major changes in the rankings as March Madness approaches. The Utah State Aggies fell all the way from the number 16 spot to number 22.
That's not the direction you want to be going at this time of year, but they're a strong enough team that I believe they can turn it around.
It's time to talk about the topic that has a lot of players and coaches holding their breath right now, the NCAA tournament bubble. These are the 10 teams that aren't worried as much about where they'll be playing as if they'll be playing. Clark, who jumps out at you there?
Auburn should be considered among the best of the major conference teams not holding an automatic bid. But there are plenty of non-power conference teams knocking on the door that may prevent them from getting an invitation.
The Illinois Fighting Illini are the top overall seed, and they will play in the East Regional. On to the second number 1 seed, who will play in the South Regional. The Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets are seeking their second NCAA championship in school history. The Maryland Terrapins are our third number 1 seed, and they'll play in the Midwest Regional. They return to the tournament after not making the field last year, so this will be a new experience for some of their younger players. And finally, our fourth number 1 seed will play in the West Regional. The away team are in the tournament field as a number 1 seed for the first time in the history of their program. Now, here's how the brackets shape up based on where the number 1 seeds have been assigned. First up, we take a look at the East Regional. Next up, we'll take a look at the South Regional. The Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets are the top seed, finishing at 26-5. They were winners of the regular season championship in the ACC. They'll take on the Charleston Southern Buccaneers, the number 16 ranked team. This will be their second appearance in the NCAA tournament in the history of their school. Virginia Tech comes in as the number 8 seed, finishing at 16-13. Providence comes in to face them at number 9 with 21 wins and a chance to make believers out of any doubters they might have. Virginia Commonwealth enters the field as the number 5 seed from the Colonial Athletic Association. This is their 9th appearance in the NCAA tournament in school history. They'll be getting ready to face the number 12 seed, the Southern Illinois Salukis, finished the season with 21 wins.
The Virginia Commonwealth Rams will be an extremely dangerous team in this tournament, mainly because they have such terrific veteran leadership. Coaches love when they have guys on the floor that have been around the block a few times because they don't get rattled. They play with composure. I look at the experience of this team as something that could put them over the top.
Georgetown comes in as the number 4 seed, finishing at 22-8. And they'll take on the 13th seed from the Ohio Valley Conference, the Tennessee Martin Skyhawks, with 21 wins. And now the number 6 seed, the Texas Longhorns, come into the tournament first in their conference during the regular season and were losers in their first game at their conference tournament. They are going to play the number 11 seed, the Middle Tennessee Blue Raiders, who were semifinalists in their conference tournament, finishing at 22-7. The Washington Huskies are in as the number 3 seed. They'll be taking on the number 14 seed, the Sacred Heart Pioneers, with 22 wins. Next up is the number 7 seed. The St. Joseph's Hawks have established themselves as one of the best teams from the A-10 conference. They'll be going up against the number 10 seed, the George Washington Colonial, with 25 wins. This is their 12th appearance in the NCAA tournament in school history. Our number 2 seed is from the SEC. The Florida Gators had a tremendous year that included a regular season championship. They're going to play the number 15 seed, the Sacramento State Hornets, who came in first in their conference tournament, finishing at 18-11. Looking into the future a little bit, this bracket looks poised for a titanic matchup in the regional final. If the top 2 seeds can take care of business in the first 3 rounds, we have the possibility of a classic Elite 8 meeting. On to our third bracket of the day. Let's take a look at the Midwest Regional. Let's have a look at the West Regional. I'm sure that this year will provide us with all the thrills and excitement that we've come to expect from the tournament.
Greg, let's throw the ball up right now. I can't wait to get started. I hope this is an NCAA tournament that gives a lot of those special moments that stay with us for years to come.
For my partner Clark Kellogg and for all of us here in the 2K Sports Studios, I'm Greg Gumbel. Thanks for joining us on the NCAA Selection Show, brought to you by State Farm, the #1 auto insurer. Enjoy all the excitement of the NCAA tournament.
Well, there you have it, the 13 seed in the South region. This is the final time we can get it done, boys. And we'll be facing the 4th seed Georgetown Hoyas from the Big East. Georgetown is a pretty intimidating basketball program. It seems like they've churned out a lot of good big men from that program, but at the same token, we've been on the receiving end of some really tough draws, having to face Kansas and Memphis in the past, but I feel like Georgetown is the best chance we're going to have to try to get it done here. And if we win, we'll be facing VCU or Southern Illinois, and we actually have a higher overall than VCU. And taking a look at the opponent stats here, we take a look and we see Georgetown and UT Martin are both within the top 30 defenses in the entire NCAA. So we don't have to worry about facing the #2 ranked offense in the country like we did against Memphis all those seasons ago. We don't have to worry about Kansas from the Big 12 that should have been a 2 seed. This seems like a pretty good upset pick for a lot of fans. And ultimately, I think we have a very good shot to dethrone Georgetown in this ball game. So definitely let me know how you feel about that 4-13 game in the South region, UT Martin against Georgetown. Do you have UT Martin in the upset? Do you guys think we can finally get it done? We'll see you next episode. Really appreciate you guys coming out, supporting the channel, and supporting the UT Martin Skyhawks. Whatever game we lose next will be the final game of Coach Carter's tenure here at Tennessee Martin. Really appreciate all the support throughout this entire series. Ever since I started it back in 2018, it's still going strong. A lot of comments and positive feedback. I really appreciate it. And it's coming to an end soon, but hopefully not as soon as you might think. Hopefully we can win at least 1 or 2 games this season. I think we have a pretty decent shot. This is probably the best shot we've had in any March Madness we've been to thus far. We're going to see if we can finally get it done in the next episode. Stay tuned for that and a whole lot more here on College Sports Revived. As I'm signing out, thanks for tuning in today, everyone. Stay tuned for a lot more content coming in the future.